My name is Steve Neal. My first memory of consciousness was at age 3, standing on a sidewalk on 47th Avenue in San Francisco. It was 1955. I looked down at my little body and back up at the sky, marveled by my own experience of life. I knew I was different. In 1958, at age 6, I woke up one night to a deafening silence and spotlights searching my room. This experience set me on a path of life unlike the average child. These experiences with the paranormal, UFOs, and more continued to this day. In 1987, my late wife brought me Whitley Strieber's Communion, which for me connected all the dots. I realized that I was not alone with this experience. This led to using my artistic skills to make art and film about this life experience. In 1994, I met and became friends with Whitley Strieber. I later met Yvonne Smith, Roger Lear, and many other people in the community, which led to television programs, magazines, and more. My work was suddenly everywhere, and I worked for many popular TV series during that time. I worked on many movies from Star Trek to Ghostbusters, but all this nearly ended my film career. It wouldn't be long before I was stalked, warned, and threatened by the intelligence community. One day, I got a call from the film studios I worked for. They had been visited by agents that told the producers it wasn't in their best interest to continue working with me because I was in trouble with the law. Under the threat of being left by my late wife, I quit the UFO community in 2000. It would not be until 2017 I would make my first film on this subject and burst back into the scene. It was called But Something Is There, and it told much of my life story and experiences. In 2023, Mary Cachapalia had the concept of making a channel that would allow people that have these experiences to come forward in safety and respect. This is something often afforded by mainstream media. They tell their stories directly to you without a host or a narrator guiding the narrative. We are breaking the silence. Well, I'm just a little teeny guy over in the corner there. Let's see. Mary, you going to make that full size? There we go. Yes, that's the new intro, and I'm still actually working on it. It wasn't, it's okay, but I'm working on it. The thing is that I'm finding a lot of people um, are not aware of my background, even though there's a first episode of Breaking the Silence where I explain everything about everything that happened to me practically. And there's a movie called But Something Is There, which is an actual movie, not a documentary, that's on the channel. Somehow people fail to see these things and don't know my background. So from now on, before a show starts, there's going to be an intro like the one you just saw, kind of explaining, who your host is. I'm not just some guy that has a casual interest in this and is, you know, trying to cash in on it or anything, because that I'm certainly not trying to do. I'm just like you guys. I have this in my life, and it keeps getting more interesting all the time. Let's see. Sev will be here pretty soon. So, what was I going to show you? I was going to show you this. This is, Bob Solis and his wife, Marilyn, were at our home last Sunday for dinner, and we were talking about all this stuff, and they kept insisting that I read this book. And I think some of you have told me about Susie too. So, the next day, Mary ordered it for me, and it arrived yesterday, and I started reading it, and it's another one to add to the other things I've been cramming down your throat. Besides The Fourth Mind, the Telepathy Tapes podcast, Simon Bound's book about near-death experiences, and now this, and they all dovetail rather well. In fact, they dovetail very well. I didn't get very far into the book when already I started seeing things that I've never shared. I don't know this lady. I've never shared it with her before. I don't know if she's heard my story at all, but as it turns out, Bob and Marilyn are very close to her, and they're good friends. And so when I was going through her book before I went to bed, I came across an illustration that showed something called soul insertion. And what it showed was a gray standing over a mother who was pregnant in bed, and it was placing a soul into her belly, into her womb. And I think I have it here. It was really shocking to me because, I know the watermark says 2019. I did this in 1994, which quite predates her book. And it was, nearly identical. Hers was a black and white sketch, but it was the same thing. And that really caught my attention. So I shared this with Bob and some of that, and he's going to hook me up with her. He sent her this picture and what I had to say about her book, and hopefully she's going to agree to come on the show, which would be great. So, how many of you, because I'm not in comments right now, how many of you have seen the Dual Soul Connection or read it? None of you? Because I could have sworn someone here recommended it. Anyway, I can't wait to be able to read more of it tonight, because it really, it's really something. And I recommend it, even though I haven't finished it, because I know you guys will like it. Well, at least some of you will, because it's not a lot about nuts and bolts. So it's about the why, and people are always saying, why is this happening? Why are we going through this? So one of the things I wanted to share with you was Mary found these, and I'm wearing one down here. These are pins and also a magnet type that you can wear. And I did this sculpture back in, the 90s. And Jim Boyle, who is often here, he and his wife, lovely people. The whole family is. I believe his daughter's name is Beth. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. And he offered to make these again. I did the sculpture, and I sent it to him. and he turned it into jewelry, as he's done other things for me that he turned into jewelry. And you see, it's got a lot of relief to it. Boy, it really looks good on this lighting. It's just perfect for it. So he also made earrings, and these are from. Come on, focus. I know you can do it. Come on. There you go. He made earrings. And of course, the pin, type, and the magnet type that I'm wearing now, which you can, put on your wall or, your refrigerator. But, it works really good for a lapel pin. And you can see, I think you can see there, if it'll focus. Can you focus? And yes, it will. Insist. Well, anyway, it's got my name engraved into the back of it. And I was wrong. This was in 2000 that he did these. And but they're fantastic. And if there's an interest, he is going to produce these again because I believe he still has the molds. And I was really glad that Mary found these. Because they were always a favorite of mine, and we used to offer them in the past. So, yeah, sure, Mary. So anyway, experiences wise, I don't know. There hasn't been much going on. Not even dreamland, which I don't really look at as dreamland anymore. People are still really good about saying, you're just having dreams. That's all it is. Dreams I remember from the time I was 6 years old. Sure. Why not? No, it's not that. And the more I research and the more I study and the more I pay attention and the more I pay attention to synchronicities and all the things I've been suggesting that you guys get into, the more I find out that dreams are much, much more. They are realities, and there are times when we leave our bodies and we literally go into another reality or wake up in our other life, which apparently we have more than one of. But for some people, it's just too much. It's as I heard someone say this morning, it's just too far-fetched. It's too far out there. How can anything be too far out there when you already have seen for the first time something as impossible as a vehicle from another place in the sky, and lost time and have memories of being face to face with non-human beings? Hey, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, how it gets too weird. It goes out too far because people think that we're more than just these physical bodies and brains, and that we actually exist in a almost celestial state between being physical and being of pure spirit and consciousness. That's too much for them. It's going too far. So that will change in time. So we're waiting for Sev, and obviously we have a misunderstanding again. I don't know which time slot she's in, but we always send out directly from StreamYard their notice, which tells you the time, gives you the link and everything. In fact, I just talked to her yesterday. She sent me some pictures of Earl to share, who we were going to talk about. So obviously something's come up. So that's Mary calling Sev. So in the meantime, what would you guys like to talk about? Because I was prepared to talk to Sev and get into this stuff and talk about it, because she's very much on the same page with me and Whitley and a lot of us. And it's kind of been uphill battle, because a lot of people just are discounting us. We even lost members because, it's too crazy to consider anything more um, than vehicles coming from another planet, in particular Zeta Reticula, to this planet to abduct us against our will and terrorize us and take our children and make hybrid babies. And they just don't seem to want to move on from that, as many of us have, because that's really not what it's about. And then another fellow this morning was talking about, with in a roundabout way, saying that Daphne's experience was a result um, of I forget, was it Reardon, the people that work for the Defense Department. Basically, he was saying it was a TR-3B. And again, I will say there is no such thing as a TR-3B. We do not fly top secret aircraft over populated areas. Thus, the term top secret. And even if we did have technology like that, we would not do that. But when it comes to the TR-3B, Whitley made that up. That's a myth. Whitley made that craft up, the name, gave it the name in his book, The Greys. I was on the phone with him the other day, and he was, pretty upset that people were still, going around in the way they do, being conspiracy nuts, saying that's a TR-3B and it's our government and we're abducting our own people. And, you know, it's hard. This is one of the hardest fields to be in, I think. And if you try to, like any field, it's not science, not considered science, but even in science, every time you push the outside of the envelope and you find new things, overall the scientific community digs its heels in and says, no, that's not it. And I give you the continental drift. It's a perfect example of what that scientist went through. And then, of course, now, yes. Yes, Linda, that's correct. And it's nice to hear that the Pope thinks he's going to release information about the visitors. I wonder if he's within his power to do that. And also, hopefully, because he's evidently such a kind and loving man, he will be very careful about how he does it. Obviously, he's intelligent enough to know what's at stake. So, let's ride. Whenever we can meet would be great. What's that, Mary?
I have your phone.
iPhone. Oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm okay with this. Stuff like this happens. People don't show up, and it hasn't happened a lot. But who knows? I don't. Nova wants to go out. So anyway, I have great hopes for the new pope, and I'm just so thrilled that he's a good guy, and I can tell he is by the reaction of a certain group of people in this country and around the world to him. They have said horrible things about him, including our so-called president. So how could you say anything horrible about such a nice man? So boy, well, this is great. Here I am. We're gonna. Well, I hope you're all looking forward to the communion letters on Saturday. Don't forget, that's going to be at 3:00, and then after that at 3:30, because it's very short. We're going to have our post chat, and we can talk more about this crazy upside down subject matter. So, none of you have read the Dual Set Soul Connection. Do you know what it's about? Do you have an idea? I'm going to ask you questions. It'll be fun. Come on. Any of you? Judy? I know Anne's going to, minute she hears I'm reading it's going to go out and get it. Let's see, which is great. How can I tell the difference between ultra vivid and detailed dreams? Well, it's like this for me, Anne. When I'm wake up and I'm not here, and I don't think I'm really even me, and it's a completely
three-dimensional. I think of three-dimensional reality with wind and sky, and I can touch and feel and smell everything, and it's just like I am right now, except I'm somewhere else. That's not a dream. It's just not a dream. There's just no way to convince me that that's just a dream. Because when I have what I think are dreams, um, they're sketchy, and they're not. They don't. They don't feel 100% real. I don't. I don't notice textures and smells and things as much, or cold, hot and cold. Is it like a oversoul situation? No, actually, it's about the fact that our souls are both. They're both human, physical, non-physical, human, and non-human, intelligent, alien, whatever you want to call it. We have both, and as far as I know, I do. It also gets into the fact that we agreed to do this, as you talked about yourself, Judy, in your show, which was a great one. And you're the one who held the little child in your arms and said, "This was for us. This was for Earth. We came here to do this." Do you know how many times I hear that from people? A lot. Susan knows about it. Whitley knows about it. Well, the Greys. That's an interesting thing for me. Is that if you read Whitley's book, it'll explain it better than I can. But basically, uh, the little Greys that come and get us and take us from our homes and put us on board a craft or whatever it is they do. It may be that we go through a dimensional hole and we think we're in a craft, but we're actually in a structure elsewhere, off world. Whoever they are, they're designed by their creators, which have their appearance, but they're taller, they're thinner, they're lighter skinned, and they're the ones that really talk to you the most. Even though they're really not talking, they're just telepathic. The Greys, the little ones, are telepathic as well, from what we know, but they're kind of the worker bees, or kind of the biological robots. I mean, in my way of looking at things, we are biological robots, all of us. So, I mean, these bodies are robotic in every sense, except that they're organic. So that's why I really enjoyed the remake of Battlestar Galactica, because they really got into that. It's a great show. Had a lot to say. They focus only on the taken part. Well, that how I look at that is that yeah, it is good, isn't it, Scarlett? How I look at that is we're kind of raised to have this ego, and anything that we perceive as being a threat, and we're told to perceive just about everything and anything as a threat until better known later on. Everything's guilty until proven innocent. We have a tendency to not understand that there's a process, a method, a reason behind what some of us call abduction, and don't know all the details. So it's a threat. You're being taken against your will. I see it all the time. People in the comments come on and say, "I don't care what you people are saying. You're not going to normalize this. You're being taken against your will. They have no right, and they're just wrong." And I've even over the years heard people say that they wanted to blow their heads off and kill them and break their necks and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of how humans are taught to be. Anyway, some kind of survival mechanism. I don't know what, but that is a problem, that people focus on the threat, focus on it's an abduction instead of a communion or interaction, that something feels that we can learn from it and they can learn from us, and that there's some sort of communion going on. And this is a hard thing to do, but so much in nature and evolution is very hard. I mean, there's nothing like an asteroid hitting the planet, wiping out an entire species, so that we would evolve eventually. Because if that never happened, I don't even know if we'd be having this conversation, or if we did, we might be evolved raptors, and then we'd be called the lizard people. But technically speaking, that would be wrong, because dinosaurs are not lizards. They're closer to birds. But, so evolution's harsh. Mother Nature's harsh. And not everything's going to be an easy ride as we evolve. And I really think that our interaction with the visitors is very much part of that. So there is so much God there. I'm not sure if all that. There's so much whereof. To me, God's just, we're all that. We're all part of it. The universe, in fact, and I believe this, I can't prove this, but a lot of scientists are out to do it right now. Because Mary and I, we study a lot. And one of the things that they're studying right now is the universe a consciousness? Is it alive? Is it? And it's interesting that scientists are doing this, and a lot of them think that it's the way it is, and the people having the experiences already know that. Some of us do. They know that the universe is conscious, it is alive, and that we're part of that matrix, that network. That if you stand back and look at a computer map of what our one universe looks like, it looks very much like a neural network. And we're all part of that neural network. And it's as big as you think it is. It's not as big as it gets. Again, nothing can be too far out there or too crazy. We just don't know it yet. And in Edinburgh, actually, we all look like reptiles. Yeah, we kind of do. I like reptiles. I like lizards and snakes and stuff. We have California swifts, or bluebellies, whatever you like to call them, out here and in front of the studio. And we have this little sidewalk in front and lawn, and it's really good for nature because there's trees and there's lawn and there's sidewalks, and the lizards love the sidewalks because they warm up, and we see them skittering across, and sometimes they'll go into the dirt and they look very camouflaged, like they're a stick or something, and then the males start doing their little push-ups, which is their territorial stance. And I just love watching them and connecting with them and talking to them and saying, yep, I can see you, but I'm not going to hurt you. So they don't run. It's amazing. So we have a lot of nature around here. We have hawks and all kinds of beautiful birds and stuff. You wouldn't think that being in a studio in an industrial kind of complex that you would have that kind of thing going on, but it's all here. So it's really, really nice to be surrounded by that. So I wish that, okay. So Sev is definitely not going to be at the show. So I'm not sure what the reasons for that are. Well, Mary and I will talk about it later. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up on the show because we don't have our guest. And we're going to be back tomorrow after the communion letters. So I'm disappointed. I know you're disappointed too. We all love Sev, and she's got a lot to say about this stuff, and hopefully we'll reschedule her and have her back. Well, who do we have next Friday, Mary?
The community chat.
It's the community chat. There you go. So hopefully we'll see some of you at that. And okay, the week after that for a guest, who do we have? I'm trying to give you some hope here. I like the knowledge that we are all threads of having God, whatever it is. It's yeah, yeah. I think,
Yvonne.
oh, Yvonne. We have Yvonne Smith, not next Friday, but the weekend after, and I know she'll show up. She better. I'll take my book cover I just did for her back. You can't see because the publisher won't allow it to be shared till it's lettered properly or something. I don't know. But when it does, you'll see the cover to the Coronado mass abduction, which of course I was part of. They finally put my name back as Steve, not Sam, in there. And then Yvonne asked me to do the book cover, and I did a really cool book cover. I can't wait to share with you. And that book's going to be available soon. For those of you who don't know about the Coronado, it took place in the 90s. We went down there for a conference. It was a great conference. In those days, conferences, they weren't commercial. They were for us. They were us guys. And, Whitley was there and the regular folks were all there. But it wasn't this big thing run by some corporation just trying to make money like they are now. That's why I don't like going to them, because they're just so commercial. And I miss the days when it was very quaint and we had dinners together and you sat there with Linda Moulton Howe and Whitley and Roger Lear and all these great people. And anybody was welcome to that table. You didn't have to pay money to be with them. So, and they shared. It was wonderful. And of course, Vaughn was there. And what happened that night was a mass abduction. We all got it that night, and it was amazing. And I did a show about it, right, with Yvonne and I. You have to look for it, but we've done a lot of them. It's there. But the book's is a must read. It's a good one. She takes all the different cases of myself and other people that were there that night and what they remember, how it happened, and also what she found out after hypnosis to learn more. So, and there goes my nose again. And Steve, and yes, and she just wrote to me yesterday and wanted to make sure that you got questionnaire and all the material to fill out. She was very impressed with your show. So, yeah, let's hope so. So, you guys, I'm going to wrap this up. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. And I'm really sorry we didn't have a guest tonight. And I thank you all for showing up. You're just wonderful. And we love you. You know that we do. Take care and have a great evening.